We begin this journey with pure 24-karat granules looking unremarkable now, but holding the potential for $500,000 of exquisite beauty. Pure gold is too soft for high jewelry, so we precisely measure copper and silver alloys to create a resilient 18-karat rose gold blend. The graphite crucible heats to nearly 2,000 degrees, transforming the solid grains into a shimmering pool of molten metal ready for immediate casting. With steady hands, the master craftsman pours the glowing liquid into an ingot mold, capturing the intense heat as it begins to rapidly cool. Once solidified, this rough bar represents the foundation of our collection, dense and heavy, yet still needing significant force to become a workable sheet. We feed the cold ingot through the heavy steel rollers of the mill, compressing the molecular structure to increase hardness and create uniform thickness. The metal elongates with every pass through the rollers, slowly stretching into a long, consistent ribbon that will eventually form the necklace's structural base. While the metal is prepped, we review the technical blueprints where every curve and setting is calculated to ensure the diamonds sit perfectly level. Precision is paramount as we cut the gold sheet into specific strips using a jeweler's saw to follow the faint scribe lines with accuracy. The sound of the saw blade rhythmically cutting through gold fills the room as the craftsman isolates the intricate components needed for the centerpiece. For the complex floral motifs, we utilize the lost wax casting method, injecting hot wax into rubber molds to create perfect replicas of the final design. These delicate wax models are soldered onto a central sprue, creating a tree structure that allows the plaster to flow evenly around every detail. After the wax burns away in the kiln, we pour molten gold into the negative space, filling every microscopic detail of the original design. We quench the hot canister in water, dissolving the plaster instantly to reveal the dull gray gold tree that hides the brilliance underneath the surface. Using pneumatic cutters, we clip each individual component from the tree, careful not to damage the connection points that will be filed down later. The raw gold pieces enter a magnetic tumbler where thousands of tiny steel pins burnish the surface, bringing out the first glimpse of luster. Now the true handwork begins at the bench where files of varying grit are used to remove the casting skin and sharpen the edges. Every stroke of the file must be deliberate as removing too much gold changes the weight and integrity of this high-value luxury jewelry set. We transition to the soldering station where a hydrogen torch is used to fuse these separate gold elements into a single cohesive structural frame. The flame must be controlled with absolute precision, heating the joint just enough for the solder to flow without melting the delicate gold filigree. We submerge the soldered framework into a warm acid pickle solution to strip away the dark oxidation scale caused by the intense heat of the torch. The jeweler examines every joint under a microscope, ensuring the bond is seamless and that no excess solder disrupts the fluid movement of the gold links. This necklace requires perfect articulation, so we manipulate the links gently to verify they drape effortlessly across the skin without catching or locking in place. Before a single diamond touches the gold, we must pre-polish the metal lattice, reaching the hidden crevices that will become inaccessible once the stones are set. Spinning cotton wheels charged with polishing compound smooth out microscopic scratches, transforming the dull surface into a mirror-like finish that reflects the atelier's soft lights. In the gemology department, we sort through hundreds of carats of VVS diamonds, meticulously matching them for color and clarity to ensure absolute uniformity throughout. Each stone is measured with a digital gauge to the 100th of a millimeter, ensuring it fits precisely into the specific seat prepared on the mounting. We press the selected diamonds into a wax layout board, visualizing the gradient of light and ensuring the flow of brilliance remains unbroken across the design. The setter takes over using a high-speed micromotor to drill pilot holes through the gold, creating the pathways for light to enter behind the diamonds. Switching to a ball burr, he carves out the metal to create a seat, checking depth repeatedly so the diamond's table sits flush with the surface. For the pave sections, the setter uses a sharp graver to lift tiny beads of gold directly from the surface, pushing them over the stone's edge. Tension is critical here as the metal must hold the stone securely forever, yet the pressure cannot be so great that it fractures the delicate diamond. Through the stereo microscope, the beads look like massive pillars, but to the naked eye, they are barely visible, specks holding the gems in suspended animation. For the larger center stones, we cut notches into the 4 heavy prongs, creating a distinct locking mechanism that snaps the solitaire firmly into its seat. We file the tips of these prongs into perfect rounded claws, ensuring they are smooth to the touch and won't snag on fine silk or clothing. The master setter rotates the piece constantly, checking the symmetry of the stones from every angle to guarantee the light reflection is maximized and perfectly even. We turn the piece over to work on the azure, carefully cutting away excess gold behind the settings to create a honeycomb pattern that reduces weight. The polishing compound and drilling debris are trapped in the settings, so we use an ultrasonic cleaner to vibrate the grime away from the diamond facets. A blast of high-pressure steam blows away the remaining residue, leaving the gold and diamonds sparkling clean and ready for the final stage of high polishing. We tape over the diamond areas with protective film, ensuring the polishing wheel touches only the exposed gold and does not round off the sharp facet edges. The artisan switches to a softer cotton wheel charged with red rouge, gently buffing the rose gold to bring out a deep, warm liquid glow. To reach the inner curves where the wheel cannot fit, we thread cotton thrums soaked in polishing compound through the openwork of the gold lattice. We move the necklace to the ultrasonic bath, again vibrating the heavy polishing grease out of the hinge gaps to ensure the movement remains frictionless. While the necklace dries, focus shifts to the bracelet, which requires creating over 60 individual links that must articulate smoothly around the curvature of the wrist. We align the bracelet links in a grooved wooden jig, inserting a solid gold wire through the knuckles to connect the segments into a flexible chain. Using the laser welder, we seal the ends of the hinge pins with a microscopic burst of heat, locking the structure without soldering the joint solid. The craftsman rolls the bracelet across the bench top, checking that it lies perfectly flat and that no link binds or kinks during the movement. With the structure sound, the bracelet goes to the setter, who must now replicate the exact diamond pattern used on the necklace on a smaller scale. He creates a gradient of stone sizes, starting with larger diamonds at the top and tapering down to smaller stones near the clasp for comfort. Attention turns to the earrings, which present the unique challenge of mirror image symmetry, requiring the left and right pieces to be crafted simultaneously, step by step. We fabricate the heavy gold clips that will hold the earrings in place, ensuring the spring tension is strong enough for security, but comfortable for wear. The jeweler solders the post to the back of the earring setting using a heat sink to protect the nearby diamonds from thermal shock damage. For the earring drops, we select 2 pear-shaped diamonds that are identical in weight and dimensions, ensuring they hang at exactly the same level when worn. The setter carefully pushes the gold bezel over the girdle of these paired diamonds, securing them firmly while leaving the pavilion open to catch the light. We use a burnishing tool to smooth the metal rim around the stone, making the gold look like a continuous liquid frame holding the gem suspended. Now we address the closure mechanisms, fabricating a hidden box clasp for the necklace that disappears completely into the diamond design once it is snapped shut. We cut a precise tongue from a strip of work-hardened white gold, which provides the necessary springiness to click audibly into the box clasp housing. The artisan files the notch on the tongue, testing the engagement repeatedly until the clasp locks with a satisfying crisp sound that indicates a secure fit. A figure-8 safety latch is added to the side of the clasp, providing a secondary layer of security for this high-value asset against accidental opening. With all 3 pieces structurally complete and set, they are arranged together to ensure the gold color and finish matches perfectly across the entire suite. We laser engrave the maker's mark and gold purity stamp onto the clasp, certifying the authenticity and provenance of this specific masterpiece. A unique serial number is etched next to the hallmark, logging this set into our permanent archives as a singular work of art. We apply a masking lacquer over the rose gold, isolating the white gold tongue of the clasp for a localized rhodium plating bath. The electric current bonds a microscopic layer of bright white rhodium to the mechanism, ensuring the moving parts remain durable against constant friction. The quality control master takes the set into a sterile white-walled room to inspect the finish under intense full-spectrum daylight simulation bulbs. He scrutinizes the pave settings at 40 times magnification, looking for any raised metal spurs that could snag the fabric of a delicate evening gown. A thermal probe is touched to every single stone, verifying one last time that no synthetic substitutes have accidentally slipped into the natural selection. He suspends the necklace from a bust, measuring the center drop to ensure it hangs with absolute vertical symmetry against the pull of gravity. A tiny abrasion is detected on the bracelet link, so the piece returns briefly to the master polisher for a precise localized touch-up. The finalized set undergoes one last high-pressure steam cleaning, removing fingerprints and dust to ensure the diamonds blaze with maximum possible fire. Meanwhile, in the leather workshop, we prepare the presentation case, cutting sheets of full-grain navy leather to wrap the wooden structural shell. We line the interior with cream-colored silk velvet, choosing a pile direction that catches the light to enhance the gold's warm tones. The brand's insignia is hot stamped in gold foil onto the inner satin lid, applying just enough heat to emboss the fabric permanently. We gently lay the necklace onto the velvet bust within the box, securing the clasp underneath so the diamonds face upward perfectly. The earrings are pressed into their designated slots, positioned so the pear-shaped drops hang freely and catch the light when the box opens. The bracelet is coiled into the circular center compartment, resting snugly against the velvet walls to prevent any movement during global transport. The gemological certificates and warranty card are slipped into a hidden compartment beneath the jewelry tray, completing the package's comprehensive suite of documentation. We lower the heavy leather lid, feeling the resistance of the hinge before it snaps shut, concealing the $500,000 treasure inside the darkness. This leather case is placed inside a sturdy, textured outer box, providing a final layer of protection against the elements during shipping. The courier secures the package in an armored transport, beginning the final leg of the journey from our atelier to the client's vault. The work is done, but the atelier floor is covered in gold dust that is too valuable to simply sweep into the trash. We vacuum the benches and floor mats, collecting every microscopic particle of precious metal filing to begin the rigorous chemical reclamation process. This debris is incinerated in a high-temperature oven, burning away the paper and lint to leave behind a pile of dirty ash-mixed metal. We dissolve the ash in acid, separating the pure gold atoms from the impurities until we are left with 99% pure sludge. This reclaimed gold is melted down and realloyed, restarting the cycle of creation for the final addition to the suite, the solitaire ring. We cut a thick slice from a new gold tube, ensuring the ring shank has no solder seams to compromise its long-term durability. The blank goes onto a lathe where a carbide tip shaves away the exterior to create a perfect mathematically circular dome profile. We swap the tool to bore out the interior, carefully calibrating the finger size to an exact 16 millimeters for a custom fit. A CNC mill carves the gallery pattern into the side of the ring, executing geometric cuts that human hands could not perfectly replicate. The machine leaves rough tool marks, so the craftsman returns to the bench to smooth out the intricate channels with fine grit sandpaper. For the ring, we require a massive 10-carat emerald cut diamond, a stone so clear it reveals even the slightest internal inclusion immediately. The master goldsmith fabricates a platinum basket for the center stone, as platinum is harder than gold and offers superior security for the gem. We file the platinum prongs down to razor-thin claws, ensuring they will hold the stone firmly without obstructing the view of the facets. The gold shank and platinum basket are welded together using a laser, fusing the two distinct metals into a two-tone structural masterpiece. We check the alignment on a mandrel, tapping the ring gently with a rawhide mallet to ensure it remains perfectly round after welding. Small diamonds are micro-pave set along the band, requiring the setter to work under a microscope to raise beads on the curved surface. The curvature of the ring makes setting difficult as the angle of attack changes constantly, requiring the setter to constantly adjust the vise. We carefully lower the 10-carat emerald cut into the platinum basket, checking that the culet floats perfectly centered above the finger bridge. The setter slowly bends the heavy platinum prongs over the stone corners, applying diagonal pressure to avoid chipping the vulnerable points of the diamond. Once the stone is tight, we polish the inside of the band one last time, ensuring a silky, smooth fit against the skin. The ring is structurally sound, but the platinum basket needs a specific high-gloss finish to contrast against the warmer tones of the rose gold shank. We mask the gold band carefully with heat-resistant tape, exposing only the white metal basket to the fast-spinning felt wheels of the polishing machine. A dip in the ultrasonic tank vibrates the polishing dust out of the gallery, ensuring the diamond remains the only thing that sparkles in the light. To complete this grand parure, we begin fabrication of the final element, an intricate floral brooch designed to be worn on a lapel or sash. Instead of casting, this piece relies on hand forging, starting with a thick rod of rose gold that we heat until it glows a dull cherry red. The smith strikes the hot metal on the anvil, hammering it into a thin sheet that will form the delicate petal-like layers of the flower. We anneal the metal, repeatedly softening the work-hardened gold structure with a torch so it remains pliable enough to be shaped without cracking or snapping. Using shears, we cut the rough petal shapes, leaving extra material on the edges to be filed down later during the precise fitting and assembly stages. Each gold petal is placed into a dapping block where a steel punch is driven down to curve the flat metal into a concave organic form. We arrange the curved petals in a circle, overlapping them slightly to mimic nature and temporarily bind them with iron wire to hold the shape. Tiny chips of gold solder are placed at the contact points, and the torch is applied carefully to fuse the layers into a single blossom. The heat creates fire scale on the surface, so the flower is submerged in acid again, emerging with a clean, matte pink surface ready for detailing. We introduce a technique called texturing, using a sharp diamond-tip flywheel to engrave deep, shimmering lines across the surface of each individual gold petal. This Florentine finish creates a fabric-like texture, diffusing the light softly and providing a stunning visual contrast to the high-polished diamond elements added later. For the center of the bloom, we fabricate a domed cluster setting, drilling holes to accommodate 7 round brilliant diamonds packed tightly together for impact. The setter cuts shared prongs between the stones, minimizing the visible metal, so the center of the flower appears as a solid ball of fire. We drill a small hole in the center of the petals and rivet the diamond clusters securely in place, uniting the texture and the sparkle. Now we manufacture the pin stem from a harder 18-karat white gold alloy, which possesses the necessary spring tension to pierce fabric without bending. The tip of the pin is filed to a needle-sharp point, polished smooth so it glides through silk or wool without leaving a visible snag. We fabricate a revolving safety catch, soldering it to the back of the brooch and testing the mechanism to ensure it locks the pin securely. The brooch enters the final polishing stage, where we must be extremely careful not to flatten the delicate texture we just applied to the petals. We use a soft goat hair brush and mild soap to wash away the polishing residue, preserving the crispness of the Florentine finish on the gold. The master inspector checks the pin mechanism, ensuring the safety catch snaps shut with enough resistance to prevent the heavy brooch from ever falling open. To complete this $500,000 commission, we must construct the final and most complex element of the collection, the high jewelry diamond timepiece. We start with a solid block of 18-karat rose gold, clamping it into a 5-axis milling machine to carve out the precise geometry of the case. Coolant floods the chamber as the cutter spins at high RPM, stripping away excess metal to reveal the curved, feminine silhouette of the watch case. The raw case is rough from the machining, so a polisher uses a lapping machine to ensure the flat surfaces are perfectly level and parallel. We fabricate the bezels separately, drilling 40 tiny holes around the perimeter to accommodate the diamond halo that will frame the watch's mother-of-pearl dial. For the dial, we slice a wafer-thin disc from a Tahitian oyster shell, selecting a piece with a natural iridescence that matches the rose gold. The nacre is fragile, so we inspect it for microscopic cracks before adhering it to a brass backplate that provides the necessary structural rigidity. We apply 12 tiny gold batons to the dial surface, acting as hour markers, each one applied by hand, using microscopic tweezers and UV glue. We select a high-precision Swiss quartz movement for its compact size, allowing the case profile to remain sleek and elegant on a lady's wrist. The watchmaker presses the movement into the gold case, inserting the stem and crown, and testing the hand adjustment to ensure smooth, consistent friction. A scratch-resistant sapphire crystal is press-fitted into the bezel using a nylon die, creating a waterproof seal that protects the delicate hands and dial. Before final assembly, the bezel goes to the setter, who paves it with diamonds, ensuring the table of each stone sits flush with the crystal. We place the finished watch head onto a timing machine, verifying the quartz oscillator's accuracy to ensure it keeps time within a fraction of a second. Instead of leather, the client requested a full gold bracelet, so we begin the tedious process of assembling hundreds of tiny links for the mesh strap. The gold wire is woven into a flexible fabric, a technique that requires the dexterity of a textile worker, but the strength of a blacksmith. We cut the gold mesh to the exact length of the client's wrist, soldering rigid end pieces that will connect the fluid strap to the case. The watchmaker attaches the bracelet to the case lugs using gold spring bars, listening for the click that signals the connection is secure and safe. We fashion a sliding buckle for the mesh strap, incorporating a double locking mechanism that ensures the timepiece remains secure even during vigorous movement. To maintain the aesthetic flow, the buckle surface is set with a row of baguettes, seamlessly integrating the functional closure into the luxury design. The assembled watch enters a pressure chamber where we simulate depths of 30 meters to certify the case. Seals are absolutely watertight and impenetrable. A final polish removes any handling marks from the assembly process, leaving the gold mesh glistening like a fluid fabric of light and metal. Now, for the first time, the necklace, bracelet, earrings, ring, brooch, and timepiece are laid out together on the white leather viewing table. Ideally, the rose gold alloy should look identical across all pieces, proving that the metal was sourced and mixed from the exact same batch. The quality control director inspects the color tone, verifying that the brooch does not look more pink or copper heavy than the necklace links. We check the diamonds under specific color grading lights, ensuring the transition from the necklace's stones to the ring's solitaire appears seamless and uniform. Any discrepancy in diamond fluorescence would be a failure, so we use UV lamps to confirm all stones react identically to the invisible spectrum. With the physical inspection complete, we bring in the high-resolution macro cameras to document every millimeter of the set for the insurance records. The photographer captures the laser inscriptions on the diamond girdles, creating a digital fingerprint that links the physical jewelry to its gemological certificates. For a commission of this magnitude, standard packaging is insufficient, so we construct a bespoke travel trunk lined with tarnish-resistant micro-suede fabric. The trunk is crafted from seasoned mahogany wood wrapped in hand-stitched calfskin that matches the client's specific color request for their private collection. We mill custom depressions into the removable interior trays, ensuring each specific piece of jewelry has a perfectly contoured nest to rest within. The necklace tray lifts out to reveal a second layer beneath designed to house the bracelet, the brooch, and the heavy diamond timepiece. We secure the necklace first, fastening the safety clips to hold the gold chain taut so the diamonds face upward for the reveal. The heavy solitaire ring slides into a velvet slot, the 10-carat emerald cut standing tall and proud above the surface of the lining. We pin the floral brooch into the lid's satin pocket, ensuring the sharp pin stem is fully covered and cannot scratch the other items. The earrings are mounted on removable cards, allowing the client to lift them out easily without touching the diamonds and leaving oil smudges. Finally, the watch is strapped onto a soft velvet cushion positioned centrally in the lower drawer to serve as the anchor of the collection. We include a bound leather book detailing the design sketches, immortalizing the creative journey from the first pencil stroke to the final polish. The GIA grading reports are placed in a hidden portfolio, guaranteeing the investment value of every major stone used in this extensive parure. We wipe down the exterior leather of the trunk with a conditioning cloth, ensuring the skin is supple and free of handling marks. The brass hardware on the trunk corners is polished one last time, removing oxidation to match the pristine quality of the contents inside. A master key is inserted into the trunk's lock, turning the tumblers with a solid click that seals the $500,000 collection securely. We wrap the trunk in protective white felt, shielding the leather from scuffs during the brief transit from the atelier to the armored truck. The security team verifies the manifest cross-referencing the serial numbers on the paperwork with the digital logs to ensure absolute accountability during transport. This moment marks the end of production, where the raw materials we started with have been irrevocably transformed into a generational family heirloom. We reflect on the process, remembering the pile of gray granules and the rough casting tree that eventually became this fluid, sparkling necklace. It took hundreds of hours of labor, from the alloy mixing to the final rhodium plating, to achieve this level of effortless perfection. The value lies not just in the weight of the gold or the carat of the diamonds, but in the mastery of execution. Gold is eternal, surviving the intense heat of the torch and the pressure of the rollers to emerge stronger and more beautiful than before. The craftsmen clean their benches, filing away the blueprints and returning the tools to their racks, ready to begin the cycle once again. Dust is swept, machines are powered down, and the silence returns to the atelier, broken only by the hum of the air filtration system. But for the client, the experience is just beginning as they prepare to open the trunk and see the metal come to life. We archive the rubber molds used for the casting, storing them in a climate-controlled vault to ensure this design can be repaired forever. If a link ever breaks or a prong wears down 50 years from now, we can recreate the exact component using these masters. This is the promise of Hyde Jewelry, that the object is not just a commodity, but a serviceable asset that outlives its maker. The lights in the workshop dim, casting long shadows over the anvils and polishing wheels that played their part in this alchemical transformation. We leave the room knowing that somewhere in the world, the gold we poured and shaped is now resting against warm, living skin. From the depths of the earth to the heights of luxury, this metal has traveled a long, arduous path to reach this moment. What was once simple, inert grain is now a breathing, moving work of art, charged with the energy of the hands that shaped it. The machinery is silent now, but the evidence of the mill, the torch, and the file lives on in every curve and facet. This jewelry set is not merely an accessory, but a triumph of engineering capable of withstanding the wear of daily life for generations. We do not just manufacture objects here, we manufacture legacies, creating the physical vessels that will hold a family's memories for centuries to come. The diamonds may catch the eye first, but it is the invisible, structural integrity of the gold work that makes the beauty possible. True craftsmanship is about hiding the effort, making the impossible look effortless, so the wearer feels only the smooth, cool touch of perfection. We have taken the chaotic elements of nature and organized them into perfect symmetry, imposing order and brilliance upon the raw, stubborn materials. As the trunk leaves our hands, we lose ownership of the object, but we retain the pride of knowing it was made without compromise. In a world of mass production, this atelier remains a fortress of patience where time is spent lavishly to ensure absolute, unyielding quality. Every scratch removed, every prong tightened, and every surface polished is a testament to the belief that excellence is the only option acceptable. The master jeweler wipes his hands, his apron stained with the dust of creation, knowing that his work will outlast him by centuries. Tomorrow, the furnaces will roar to life again. The crucibles will heat up and a new batch of grain will begin its journey. But for this specific sweet, the journey of creation is finished and its life as a symbol of status and beauty now begins. It will travel to galas and weddings reflecting the lights of ballrooms, carrying the secret story of its birth within its golden heart. We turn off the main lights, leaving the atelier in shadow, a quiet temple dedicated to the ancient and noble art of goldsmithing. There is a profound satisfaction in making something real, something heavy and permanent, in an age where so much is fleeting and digital. This is the definition of value, not just the price on the tag, but the sheer, unquantifiable human skill woven into the metal. The raw gold has fulfilled its destiny, transformed by fire and force into a masterpiece that justifies its immense cost and enduring allure. From the grain to the glory, the process is complete, leaving behind nothing but the shining silent evidence of a job well done.